The big picture of the property was really to have minimal impact. As the natural land we really find beautiful about the property.
My name is Sam Houston, and I'm what you folks today might call a pretty big deal.
Kissing Tree is a $1 billion project.
First and foremost, it is an active adult community. From the CEO of the company down, they said if we're going to enter the active adult market, let's do it different. Let's do it better. Let's do it unique.
Back then, San Marcos was little more than a place to water your horses.
The special thing about San Marcos is the history there and around the whole name of the Kissing Tree, how Sam Houston brought that name to San Marcos.
I delivered a fiery stump speech, and after I was done, well, I felt that those ladies deserved a respectable peck on the cheek. They renamed that majestic live oak tree that I spoke under that day the Kissing Tree.
I definitely think Kissing Tree will change the character of San Marcos. It will add a demographic that is not predominant here. 55 is not old.
Kissing Tree is a lifestyle. It's a great location in the middle of Austin and San Antonio, so the location is ideal.
It's hill country living. So when you think about those great hill country places, you go out to Luckenbach, you head out to Fredericksburg, you go to New Braunfels, you go to the river here in San Marcos. How can you replicate that in a fashion that people can live it?
We've got a lot to do on that land with 1,300 acres and 3,200 homes, and quite a beautiful amenity campus coming along the way.
It's hard not to get excited about it when you talk about it because there's no other master planned community like it. What you'll see in most master planned communities would be a large patio area, maybe an indoor-outdoor facility for small venues, parties, whatnot. Ours, however, is a little bit different. Our mixed building is the social hub of the entire amenity complex. It'll offer a full bar, full kitchen, cooking classes. It'll have some classrooms.
In conjunction with that, we're building a golf course. We have a local architect design the golf course to really blend with the topography of the property and to really spread out across the entire property so you can enjoy the golf course as it meanders through the community.
The extension off the current center point onto the property. With the amount of topography that was in there, the main area was basically cut down 35 to 40 feet from natural grade down to the street level. They bring the large rock saws to cut the trench. Then they bring in the large equipment basically to move large chunks of rock to get the entire fill down to standard grade where they need to put the roads. That will be the main drag. Eventually, you'll come through one large boulevard coming into the property.
We knew we wanted to open this fall. We wanted to get out in front of the holidays and things like that. So we said October 29th should be a deliverable date. So leading up to it, what do we need to do to engage prospects?
We have all sorts of stuff spread out here. So I have a copy that you can take for what the temporary welcome and information center is going to look like. Have you seen all that, Scott?
We decided to open up a temporary sales and design center, and we decided to do it in a very unique way, and that is by taking shipping containers and converting them into functional spaces.
Here's kind of an overhead look of it. This is where they enter in. Then we have a shuffleboard. We want to have an element of game. They can sit up there, they can look at magazines, they can look at plans. From the beginning, we really, from a marketing standpoint, we wanted to control what the customer was seeing.
It all starts with a tree, a community that stitches together the best food, a love of fitness, And above
We
all,
started running our digital ads, and the response was so high. And so we decided to bring people on property sooner. We wanted to engage what people's real intention and commitment was to Kissing Tree and living out there. And so the Pioneer program was put in place to get a whole understanding of how big Kissing Tree would be. And then as we started to sell the Pioneer program, the philosophy of the Pioneer program grew and grew and grew. When do you think the containers will be placed? If you were looking at your schedule as it stands right now, no rain, no nothing.
Yeah, no rain, no nothing. We, probably within the next 15 days.
Okay.
A typical approach to something like this would be to rent some construction trailers, put them off-site close to the property, where we went right into the heart of the property. It created all kinds of challenges and opened it up to literally a project that needed the entire operating team, because you've got land development, construction, purchasing, sales, marketing. All of the different disciplines are involved in that project where they would not have been considered in doing things the traditional way.
That was handed to me very early in my employment here and said, what do you think about this? And we actually made a trip to Houston to this strange place where they stock shipping containers. They look like buildings, they're all stacked up on top of each other, and you're kind of wandering through this maze. And then, I want that one there. And so you pick out your shipping container, and they bring in the biggest forklift you've ever seen. It goes up 8 stories and sets them down on the ground. All right, come get them.
We'll introduce you to Mr. Sean Jeffcoat. So here they are pretending like they're working. He is the Project Manager of the Year. He just won the Home Builders Association Max Award this last weekend. So in the great state of Texas, this is the #1 project manager. And so we're very excited to have him here.
This project to me personally means a lot. It's testing some of the things that I've known or had very little experiences doing. One of the largest challenges that we've had to overcome was Grand Central. We had a plan to build our temporary sales and design center facility out of storage containers put together, and none of us had ever done it before, and we had to all come together with our past experiences. It was a huge challenge.
I'm fielding emails and phone calls at late hours from all of you, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Right? I mean, with everything else that we're doing, we decided to take on a brand new project that nobody's ever done, seen, or thought of, and that is welding a bunch of cargo containers together and making a, quote, temporary facility out of it. The deck
And
is
an
so
El Nino
engineered.
year.
Yeah, and an El Nino year, right, all
Now
of
La
that.
Nina's coming around, it's gonna rip us
Right.
apart.
With the weather that we've had, you have to be able to manipulate the schedule and determine where you can work depending on the rain. Grand Central, we dealt with a lot of that. Since the rain finally stopped, we've been actually working every single day. We've done 4 weeks worth of work in 9 days.
We had designed the air conditioning system. It was supposed to be ductwork hanging from the ceiling in the space.
I just happened to walk in, luckily, at the time they were doing the first one, and realized the ceiling height was not going to accommodate this large, massive unit hanging down in all 3 of our buildings. So we changed the entire HVAC system. We went from inside hanging off the ceiling to underneath all the containers and cutting holes in the floor and running floor vents the very next day, and still meeting our time frame.
For those of you who don't know, Sean's wife doesn't even know that he cut his hair, right? He hasn't seen her in like a week. The landscaping's coming together, the deck's coming together, all of the containers are looking great. Good call on putting the AC underneath.
we've got 350 people signed up on the RSVP list. They'll start at the design center. All the sales team will be in here welcoming them. They'll grab another beer or a glass of wine, and then they can jump on a golf cart ride with all the fans going and see the land, see where these amenities are going to be built. They'll come back through the golf cart tour and back underneath the tent. They'll see friends there. They'll start to talk to them. They're going to ask questions. Scott, our general manager, will be there, and they're going to know Scott's name, and they're going to know Sean Jeffcoat's name, and all these people that made it happen. Our goal is to connect with the prospect and let them know that we're building something that makes sense for them, that we've thought through it, and we understand who they are as a buyer, as a person, and what they want.
You truly are pioneers. You're the first people that are here, and when you 3 years from now are sitting up in the social building and you're talking to your brand new neighbors that just moved in, you get to say, I was here before any of this stuff was here.
The excitement is there. We are temporarily officially open for business.
We feel like we're really pioneering because it's like dripping us information. But we got to see house plans. Oh my gosh, and your model homes. In case you can't see them back there, you've got these model homes popping up all over the place too. We're excited.
We kind of like to be part of it.
I wanted a place where I could easily stay active. There's going to be an indoor and an outdoor pool, a fitness center that I don't have to drive to.
I'd say the same type thing. We're looking to be active and do things, and the ability to have a nice place put together in this area is just wonderful.
We're number 45. I'm sure everybody knows exactly what number they are.
Even before they move in the community, they start to meet a lot of different people, and the community becomes that much smaller for them.
Kevin was out there and he was talking, establishing get-togethers and activities before it even starts. I'm going like, what a great idea. You're building the community before we have houses here. And I said, but that says there's a commitment made here. And commitment's a huge deal.
It's an old property. The area is referred to as Stringtown. The name Stringtown came from the fact that there was just a number of residents strung along the route. Their homes were on the west side in the trees, and they hunted deer and turkey.
This land was originally owned by General Edward Burleson. It was given to him for his heroic efforts in the Battle of San Jacinto. Then between 1850 and 1857, 18 families, most of them relatives from Georgia, moved here.
This used to be the Lohman property, very important to the history of San Marcos and Hays County.
Al Lohman is a third or fourth generation Texan, owned a lot of the land around our property now. So we're heading up to the ridge where the new Lohman property is located, their new house. But you can see those views, the type of views that they have.
My husband's father bought the property in 1944 from the Will Johnson family. It was a Johnson family home down on Hunter Road. So it was a long-time San Marcos family. My father-in-law ranched and farmed, and this property went all the way on the other side of the mall. Hunter Road was a portion of the Camino Real that went from Austin to San Antonio. It was a stagecoach route.
Growing up on the property was really quite fun. We went foraging for bottles and nails, a lot of square head nails, because it was on, I guess, the stagecoach stop. And so they'd drink whatever was in the bottle and toss it out. We would literally pull a little red flyer wagon up here and go fishing in the pond. And as we got a little bit older, we would bring inner tubes up and we would sit and float up on the pond. So lots of fun memories up here.
This is some beautiful Texas hill country. This is the site of the old homestead. This is part of the foundation of the old fireplace right here. And you can see some of the old rubble, the fire brick. Most of the cattle were on the pasture land, these long, narrow pieces east to west. This must have been the area they rounded them up. This probably was their backyard. This homestead has been in place for about 200 to 300 years. We are going to set this area aside as an area that we'd want the community to know about.
My father was a historian of Texas history.
He was a member of the Hays County Historical Commission, and he was instrumental in getting the Jack Hays statue on the courthouse square. He had a dream when he moved here in 1944 that he wanted to build a house here someday on this hill, and so we have the house here.
My mother bought this plaque for my father. This was his dream home that he was able to have up here.
We sold to Brookfield. We sold to them in 2007.
I'd like it to be a really nice community where, people are very neighborly, and it's definitely grown.
This was the best thing he could envision for the property.
We've been married close to 40, is it 45 next year?
Yes.
Okay. We've been married 45 years.
We are either number 2 or 3 pioneers. We were one of the first.
Yes.
And we are proud that we got to do that because we've been supporting that development for a long time.
It'll be fun to be able to be living out there and see the impact that it has. Our children that are involved with us are excited about what's going on in that, again, because the potential business is going to be nothing but positive.
22 years ago, I opened up a boutique here in San Marcos. Then we opened up Cody's Bistro and Lounge, and we just opened up
The Elevate Bar and Table. So life's not dull.
And wait, have we even told our children that we're moving to Kissing Tree?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a secret. We.
That little concrete patio and this cover was part of the original house. There was nothing else back here other than the trees and dirt. When we moved here, we immediately put in this pool and spa, and then my son-in-law and a good friend of his built this outdoor kitchen in 2 weekends, which is amazing. And then we've added on over the years with the fire pit and all of this, and you can just see, it's just, everything that's planted out here, I've planted. There's got to be over 2,000 somethings in the ground. So yeah, this is kind of our haven. And then if you, over here, we added this just because we love to sit out here in the mornings and have coffee, or it's a great place to have glass of wine, but you see the view back toward Wimberley.
There's not any better way to start our morning other with our coffee and to experience and enjoy that beautiful view.
That's true.
Every morning.
In the privacy of our backyard.
That's right. It's beautiful. Yeah. There's always hesitation, I think, I wouldn't be honest if I was sitting here and telling you there's no hesitation. It's when you start into a new home, you hesitate because, well, what if I don't like this? There's a lot of big decisions to make. This will be a big step for us.
We would not move to another place if Kissing Tree hadn't come along, because we know we can select the lot, we can select the plan, and as Pam said, and she will be all over whoever the builders are out there, but it'll be a lot easier. So.
We have Kendra.
Yes.
Next to us, so bless her heart.
Kendra, if she chooses to put down her sales position here at Brookfield, she should go into politics. I've never met somebody who can charm anybody. She's fantastic and so great at her job.
When we first pulled in, we were dealing with a lady named Kendra. She's been absolutely fantastic, warm, welcoming, so much different than the experiences we've had at other places, which is kind of, okay, we'll show you around, and it is what it is. It was very personal, and that's something that's really made an impact on us.
The main role of a new home counselor is to truly introduce the story of Kissing Tree, take them on the journey of Kissing Tree. We ask a question early on, what's changing in your life as you're looking to purchase a new home? And that's where the story starts. When we first opened up our temporary sales center out here, we really were at that point showing them pictures of what was coming. Now, when you run into Pioneer Reservation holders, they're meeting each other out on the pavement, of the community and their train phone numbers and emails. So the reservation program has taken on a life of its own because the community is developing despite the fact that the first resident is yet to move in. It is truly, I call it again, the journey of Kissing Tree, and we find out what that looks like. They may not be set on, gosh, I'm gonna live in Texas, for instance, if they're from out of state. It's very much like my relationship with Paul and Stefana Petrino. They're coming here from Boston.
I would say we love Boston. It's a great city. There's a lot to do. Boston is home.
Yeah,
I mean,
is.
for us.
It's a great city. We can really relate to it. It's very historical. We understand the history of it. A lot of friends. It's a great meeting spot. But it's nice to come home and enjoy the property that we have here, where it's just kind of open and peaceful and quiet. We're on about 1 3/4 acres of land. Not all of that is seeded in grass. A large portion of it exists over here off to my right. This was once all farmland. It was developed about 10 or 15 years ago. And so they kept all the natural walls that are here. They fit the house onto the lot to accommodate that. Beyond us here, to the back here, that is the property line where the shed is and the natural stone walls. And we actually abut about 140 acres of conservation land. It's the Division of Conservation and Recreation. It's a watershed buffer to protect some of the ponds that are out there.
And wildlife.
And wildlife, yeah. Just about everybody we know from Massachusetts seems to retire in southern Florida. But what happened was we really didn't fall in love with Florida. It just didn't kind of click. So we were still actively looking and considering, and then lo and behold, Steph got an update from Kissing Tree that they had in fact broken ground. We're in the process of building some model homes. So our anniversary actually was coming up in August, so we said, you know what, we've never been to Texas. And so we did for a long weekend, and have to tell you, we absolutely loved Kissing Tree. We went there for the very first time, met with Kendra. We really got the vision. They were really building a community, an extended family, if you will. And that resonated with us, that Kissing Tree was trying something that made a lot of sense to us, a place where we could see ourselves actually living.
Moving thousands of miles away actually feels more like we're exploring. We're exploring a new territory, a new area, new friends. I think it'll be fun for us.
The project is not an experiment. How we're engaging with this customer this early in the process is a little bit of an experiment. And it's a calculated experiment. I think we've got 300 or 400 ambassadors. They'll be telling 2 friends and so on and so on. Getting the model homes open will be a huge milestone. No 2 homes will be alike, on the outside or the inside. The curiosity has been overwhelming for a lot of people.
They want to know what they're going to look like, how much they're going to cost, and which lot they can have.
We hadn't even started any traditional advertising. We'd been in some print publications and on social media. On September 5th, we launched our first commercial, and it was on the Longhorn Network. So we're about to bust into the market. And what that means is driving a lot of people before opening events and then on October 29th. So all that being said, there's a lot of money going out, close to $2 million in advertising to drive people here.
We have some anxiety sitting next to you.
I know. So I'm saying all of these things so that we can have a conversation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
A lot of these plans have not been built before. And so when we have an initial plan or a new plan, we will come in as a group and we all give our experiences, our opinions on it, and then we all vote on it. We also need to realize we're talking October 29th.
Yeah.
But we're doing a ribbon cutting on the 27th, and then we're going to bring those people from Centerpoint down through the model park. So now it's technically October 27th.
So that's
Now
if.
it's technically October 24th if we take vendors through.
So if we do a soft opening on the 29th, does all of that happen ahead of it?
To bring any amount of people in, even 300, it's going to be really hard not to bring them down Centerpoint. And if we're going to open Centerpoint, it's such a huge piece of it. We have to be able to tell that story.
And that doesn't mean also we don't open up Centerpoint to public traffic at that point. This is just a ceremony.
Well, we would. I mean, if we cut the ribbon, it's open.
I don't know that we have the option on the 29th as the deliverable date. I think the conversation right now is how big of a party are we going to throw? Very aggressive deadline. And with the weather not cooperating, with some of the permitting, with a few other things that came into play, we've literally lost a week in our schedule.
Weather is always the key when you're coming down close to finishing off an entire model park. We have quite a bit of landscaping and hardscaping that we'll be doing over the next 4 weeks. So hopefully the rain will hold off.
Basically, the rule of thumb that I've been given is for every day of rain, it takes 2 days to dry it back out. So every time it decides to start raining on us, it just delays our construction schedule by that much. So it has been a challenge.
It's kind of sick how exciting it is because we all kind of, at the end of the day, we get excited about what we accomplished and then we turn around and do it to ourselves again. October 29th, we're gonna blink an eye and it's gonna be here, but there's confidence going into the grand opening that we wouldn't have had we not pushed ourselves so hard to make these other dates and deadlines.
Sean, Jeff Coate, and his team have come together. They've reanalyzed the schedules. How they're going to do it, I'm not 100% sure because every time I ask for a schedule, it doesn't pencil out. As we start peeling the onion back each week, we're starting to find more and more things surfacing. And it's not that anybody's burying them. It's not that we missed them. It's just we didn't know the question to ask.
Before I came on board, there was a set of designs that was commissioned from 4 or 5 different architecture firms. We were given those and, we've had to do a lot to them. This is what's called a master set of plans, and this is how it comes from the factory, as it were. So we'll go through, and these are just the different elevations, same house. So you can see how different it looks. So you can see that you can go from something very traditional, literally traditional, to something very contemporary without changing the floor plan very much. Getting the houses laid out properly and the designs picked and the alterations chosen. You learn about how subjective everything is when you can take a house that's just a given floor plan and give it a completely different flavor just by windows and doors and a slightly different finishes.
Reality, I'm not worried about how big the party is. I'm worried about getting these things done, and that's what we've committed to. So we're going to do it.
Right.
People are dying to see these models finished. They haven't seen anything like this. I mean, regionally, they're going to come from a lot of places.
We're not talking about taking our foot off the gas at all.
No.
That's not what we're talking about at all. We're still going to be ready to open the doors October 29th. Tabitha has everything lined up as she just laid out. Everything's ready to go. We just have to push the button. The only thing we're talking about right now is not pushing the marketing button right now. Everything else keeps pushing forward. We're still selling houses. We still have people coming in because we're still going to deliver something the end of October. Whether it's a huge party or an intimate party, we still want to put on our finest duds and have a great appearance.
I think there's a lot of people saying that there's going to be people in by the end of the year. I don't think they've
we were
updated
saying
it.
that, and we lied to them.
I've heard that.
Yeah, we lied.
That was the goal in the business plan, but I think we.
Did you get extra days for rain?
Our COO wanted us to try something a little bit different, because typically what you do is you wait and get all the stuff there and then you have a grand opening. And he wanted us to do these sort of sneak peeks. This type of customer has been known to take 11 or 12 months to make their decision. And so what we thought was, let's start with a series of events. We'll call them a Taste of Kissing Tree.
A Taste of Kissing Tree. It's a 2-day bash where you can come out and sort of get a taste of all of the local flavors of San Marcos and the Kissing Tree community. We want to take the opportunity to thank those 150 couples that are on the Pioneer list.
They will see an amazing opening to a great community. They're going to see the main entrance under construction. They're going to see quite a bit of it finished, but still under production. They're going to get to see 5 fully furnished, fully completed model homes. They'll get to see 3 model homes under production. They'll get to experience a lot of the lifestyle that Kissing Tree has to offer. Contracts are available right now.
As we think about the transition, there's probably less we're worried about leaving behind and more we're thinking about going towards. It's just a tremendous amount of choice.
Suddenly, we weren't just talking about lifestyle, but we were talking about where they might potentially put their head at night.
I just flew in from Maui. I've been on Maui almost 2 decades and ready to be with more of my family on the mainland. I think the quality looks really wonderful, and I love the way that they presented the homes.
Man, we're so lucky to work with each other. We all know it, and we do not take it for granted, that's for sure.
This is the group we spend the most time with, more than we do at home.
It's really credit to everybody. Nobody can come in here and make something like this happen. Just everybody has to come in with the right attitude.
It shows you the legitimacy of what they're trying to develop, the community they're trying to make. And that was very special to us when you talk about that community.
People came from all over and they just became family. I think that dinner started that process. Tabitha pulling that off was just fantastic.
I didn't have a clue what I was getting myself into when I took this job. Evenings turned to mornings, but I'm grateful for all of it.
This party tonight,
It's been excellent.
I'm telling you, the table decorations are beautiful. You could not want for something. The food was excellent. It was cooked perfectly. And I love the fact that it was served family style. So you're like passing the plate. So you know how to throw parties nonstop. Amazing.
So the next step is spring of 2017 will be the first finished homes.
We continue having more fun. We get the customers in and start our community and the lifestyle that we've been selling to the customers that have been with us since the very beginning, and that's the enjoyment that we're all looking forward to.
Our message is get excited because we've got a lot to show you.
We're going to be doing the ribbon cutting, so we'll be officially opening Centerpoint. We're also going to be having a landmark presentation. It's a historical marker, so we're very excited about the fact that we get to have a literal plaque recognizing us as a historical landpoint.
We're pleased to be recognized by the Texas State Historical Commission as a location where the historic Stringtown community was located.
This is obviously an exciting day for us to celebrate this progress and this new community, and a lot of great things to come for the city of San Marcos.
We put a lot of time, effort, and thought into what it should look like and the impact it should have on the arrival. And what you see behind you today is a result of that. And I think it's a great first impression as to Brookfield's entree into this market.
We've started construction on the mix. They should be pouring foundations on those any day now. We're very excited about having those amenities in place. The outdoor amenities, we're projected to have those open middle of September this year, and the sales and the social building by the end of this year.
Everybody's completely over the moon. with our traffic numbers. However, they're not completely over the moon with our sales numbers. So what can we do? Realistically, we've driven a whole lot of people there. Okay, so we're not on the hook in any way there. We've got plenty of traffic. I mean, just you saying 600 people came through there over the weekend, like there's no more questions as to whether or not we've marketed it and set up for people to come. Now the question is they're coming, but they're not eating the dog food.
Right now, Kissing Tree has 48 sales. We'd like to see 10 to 15 sales a month. We've had a couple good months and a couple slower months, but that's to be expected with a project that you're selling a dream. You're selling the promise of amenities and promise of a lifestyle.
I would say that in Kissing Tree, we've already gone live with all bad information because all 18 floor plans are incorrect.
Correct.
What's wrong with the floor plan?
And this is why we're not selling today, because people don't
What
trust
is wrong
us.
with the floor plans? Going back to April of last year, April, May, June, July, August, September, where I got absolutely scorched over plans that I kept telling you we have an on-site architect who apparently can't draw plans. That's what's still wrong with them. If you think drawing the plans is bad, y'all wait till you build them. And they've had problems.
So what's the customer?
That's why we're not selling anymore, because they were buying on a vision originally, and we stacked them all up, and we got 40 in January. And then come February, they said, now my lot doesn't fit, I'm out. The reason that they're out is because we can't tell them where they can put what house, where, and how. We've changed so much. And we haven't even started to build these distinctive contract houses where they're moving walls and redesigning the majority of the home.
Don't you
7
remember?
correct floor plans.
We're officially, unofficially opened. That was
It's a sneak peek.
quote. This is what she meant. We're officially, unofficially opened.
We knew there was going to be some hiccups. I just think they could be better organized. They could be better organized. You're looking at somebody like Brookfield, who's so big. I mean, these cats partner with all kinds of people. I would have thought they'd have brought a little more firepower to the table in terms of either administratively or the labor to get the job done. Maybe they missed the mark that way. They tell us we may not have the health and fitness center for 2 years. 2 years? You know, I think they'd be farther ahead in selling if they had had the amenities, at least the mix, done.
I was impressed. I really liked my salesperson, Kendra. And they told me about the amenities they were going to have, the pool, the restaurant, the golf course, as well as a walking trail. I ended up being Pioneer number 38. Normally, when you go into an area to look at new homes, you know when you walk in there, this is what you're going to get. I picked a home in a lot with a 9-foot ceiling, and then, you know, after I do that, a couple weeks later, someone comes back and says, oh, we want all these homes in this area right here to have the higher ceiling. I went, how can you do that? You've already told me this house cost me $257,000, and now you want us to have the 10-foot ceiling, and you're going to jack our price up $15,000. And so what I couldn't understand was why most of the time when I asked a question, it was always one of those things, well, this is where it's going to be, but we can't tell you when it's going to be done. We don't know that, but we're going to get that information. We'll have that like next week. You know, and then next week I wouldn't have that information.
So when sales are low, you know, sales are going to do everything they can to protect themselves. And they're going to come after you first because you're the first target of, well, I'm not getting enough traffic. And so we just need a way to be able to say,
But
here's the real traffic that came. Like when we say 660 cars came in.
that's why I don't understand the leads and the quality of the leads. I mean, if they're setting an appointment, this conversion should be huge, and it's 2%. I mean, that is like everything when it comes to traffic.
So in my one-on-one with Dirk, I asked him some questions. I said, well, I mean, with where we are and what we're doing with sales, you know, what are you happy about? What are you disappointed about? What keeps you up at night? And he's like, well, Kissing Tree keeps me up all night, every night. I said, so are you disappointed with the amount of sales? And he never really answered the question. And he said, well, what about you? And I said, well, you know, all the research we had said this customer wasn't going to buy without seeing. So
I think he went and drove around with Scott and realized there's much bigger issues than a sign.
So you know what he said to me today? He asked me, what department do I think he's most disappointed in on the Kissing Tree project?
What department does he think you?
What department do I think has disappointed him the most on Kissing Tree? I said land. He was like, you're right.
So land wouldn't be my first choice.
So I think that...
I think he pushed land faster than they could go.
But
I think
he asked
he should
which
be
he
most
was-
disappointed with his architecture department.
I was going to say architecture.
But he said which is he most disappointed with? He's never confronted or acknowledged there's a problem in architecture.
I know, but he has to know.
So you can't
He has to know better than that.
be disappointed if you don't acknowledge it.
He has to know. Too many people have said,
He's
Scott,
going to find out when Sean tells him why we can't build the houses.
Which houses?
Any distinctive contract.
Huh?
I mean, the same person that didn't catch any of these errors
all
in the
the
18
distinctive
plans is the
contract
same
houses
person
are messed
drawing
up?
the new plans for these custom homes. And you don't think we'll have, I mean, we're going to have issues.
well, that brings us to the bigger conversation that we need to have in this meeting, which is sort of the project, the department reorg. Anybody have anything to say about that today?
No.
I think a little piece of me is kind of sad that I'm not out there, really. Because I had it all fixed in my head. Where every tree was gonna be, where everything was gonna be. I would have bought that house. I would be there right now. There was absolutely no communication after I told them I was not going to purchase the house and would they please send my refund check back. And I got my refund check back in probably about 2 weeks, and I never heard from anyone at Kissing Tree again. I did not talk to anybody else. I didn't call. I did call Kendra one day just to go to lunch because I liked her a whole lot. We were kind of like friends.
To see this when it was just dirt and see people interacting, it's humbling actually, because it's about everybody that's had a little piece of Kissing Tree in the development or being a part of it or being a reservation holder. They're already a part of the community, if that makes sense, because it doesn't matter to us that they're under contract or not. They're a part of the community now.
We were about to be empty nesters. We thought we would just go see what they were doing. We had no idea that we were going to end up moving out there.
Usually you go out and you can touch and feel the property. There was no property to look at. They sold us on the concept behind Kissing Tree.
I think part of it was Kissing Tree had hired a social director a year before they built their first house. And we were looking for ways to stay active and healthy, and they connected people. That's what Kissing Tree does. It's a place for connections.
We all like to do things. I've been at a place before and just an experience. It was about 4 to 6 months. So 1 year, I thought, okay, there's nobody here. It's a little different. Sometimes it was like, okay, what do I do today? There's nobody to work with. But I got to get out in San Marcos and New Braunfels and Kyle and shake a lot of hands and meet a lot of people. And so I've made a lot of good connections just within the business community and the social community outside of Kissing Tree. I think it was well worth it for me personally, but I think it's going to be well worth it for the residents of Kissing Tree as well.
The great thing about Kissing Tree is that we become a family. We know everybody already. They say it's about lifestyle. It's really true. That's the great thing about activities. It brings everybody together. I already feel like this is our neighborhood, and we haven't moved in yet.
So I have one more thing.
Yes.
$1.25 million we plan to go into the Houston market in January of next year so that we could push everybody here for the spring opening. And we decided to expedite that and launch it this July. The message is come and play pickleball in November, play on all of these amenities starting early fall, and that the social building and the mix will open in November. Once we publish the broadcast, we can't go pull them back down. So it's just something that we have to be honest about, because that's the whole campaign starting in July.
I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
We think we can make it. We're going to give blood, sweat, and tears to get there. And at the end of the day, if we don't make it, we're going to blame marketing.
It happens every day.
The weather.
The weather, it rained.
It was too hot.
Some of the larger challenges are obviously missed construction dates. The amenities have been a real challenge this year, from the golf course and the delays that we've encountered with the construction of the golf course. It's a very complicated golf course. It's built in the hill country, it's built on rock, and so bringing the golf course out of the ground has been a much greater challenge than we ever anticipated.
They're gonna be so mad with tracking mud on the nice new road.
Those geologic formations are so interesting. And then they did the bridges and everything to try to match the look of all that. So it's just very interesting to be able to see what the terrain looks like under the surface. Does he have any idea who you are?
Yeah, he does.
The terrain that we have here is a very natural terrain. A lot of the existing vegetation we kept, with it being part of Audubon International.
And as such, there are certain specifications, certain criteria that we have to conform to in building the golf course to keep the natural qualities of the area as intact as possible.
And so trying to leave these wildlife corridors open is a big part of it. One of the other things is trying to make sure that drainage doesn't go directly into a water body. And so if we can keep a lot of the natural vegetation as buffers, it kind of kills two birds with one stone from the standpoint you do your Audubon certification, but then also you have the filters to create the aesthetic views on the golf course.
So we're trying to do it in eco-friendly and environmentally friendly, along with typical construction practices which can't be applied. So we've had to put a tremendous amount of effort into the irrigation systems, the challenges with topography.
The major challenges have been just the rock beneath us. That also leads to the soils being, very difficult to grow grass in. We've done 4 to 6 inches of top dressing of soil all over the 200 acres of the golf course. We then bring in sprigged grass, whether it's Bermuda or ryegrass.
Everything that needs to happen from construction to the day we open is kind of the grow-in, and that's a massive undertaking.
We're ready to start sprigging some of the holes. We'll sprig them by 6-hole sections, 3 different times. So May 15th is the first, then June, and then July. By November of this year, the golf course should be green and in full bloom, ready to go.
We'll have to see what kind of weather we get and what kind of challenges we have along the way, but slow soaking rains will help us. Downpours are a negative, especially if the grass is not tacked down. You can have sprigs running down a fairway and end up in a catch basin. That is something we do not want. We would really like to see a droughty summer, quite honestly. I want to have control of the water going down rather than Mother Nature.
We're kind of at the mercy of Mother Nature and temperatures. Once March comes around in 2018, we'll have a lot of work ahead of us to get that grass established, work with the fertility of the soils, and really push healthy Bermuda grass, and then we'll be ready for July.
Every time people ask what the favorite hole is, I always have to ask myself, which one's my favorite child? But for me, the most exciting shot on the golf course might be the pin placement on the right side of hole number 15. It's a really delicate little par 3, only 130 yards. It'll be really beautiful from the standpoint you'll have the native grasses, the limestone wall, and then the green grass up above it. And so you'll have the different colors and textures that just really play with your mind. So yeah, it'll be a really risky little shot, but those are the ones that people really enjoy playing.
The highlights of the golf course are I would say all in the back nine for sure. That's where the elevations really change. You can see the whole city of San Marcos. You really get a sense that you're out in hill country. The wildlife is spectacular out there. It's really kind of a piece of heaven. Everybody knows the moving parts, and now we just need to be talking to each other to get it done. It's not just sales helping me get golfers, it's golf course helping sales get homeowners too. So we just gotta all remember that.
The challenges that you don't see are the little challenges, the missed appointments, the scheduling, the people not engaged the way you thought they should be. And that's been, death by 1,000 cuts, because every time you turn around, there's just a little thing here or a little thing there. If sales don't hit right on target as they're supposed to, then there has to be a restructure, a reorganization to ensure that the project is healthy and moves forward. Unfortunately, we didn't get out of the ground as quickly as we had hoped for.
So while we were growing one department, the sales department that we're customer facing, we went through a change from the corporate level.
Nobody likes to go through that. It's difficult for everybody.
It's one of those things that you have to go through that's challenging. Nobody likes a downsize or a reorganization. We said goodbye to a lot of good friends, and we hope that they are well, but it's not something that I want to dwell on. We still have to push forward.
There's so many moving pieces to all of it. We shot the arrow and now we're painting the target around us. The truth is we're getting it done, but we're doing it right. So we've actually hired an agency to help us manage the contractors who are overseeing the amenities.
The amenities aren't built yet. These people are truly taking our word for it. So to take them out, show him the construction, if he's a golf pro, knowing that Troon is managing it gives him an immediate sense of comfort. Knowing that we have a professional company building the course and being able to go out and see what it looks like and how it plays, these are resources that you have. And so don't miss those.
The dream and the lifestyle that they are creating in people's minds, they're doing a fantastic job. So we just have to continue to do that and then continue our progress on the amenities.
We came into the year with a great January, a great sales momentum from last October, but it was almost like there's a little too much happening to where it put us in this construction fog. The summer months really picked up. We saw a lot of visitors out traveling, wanting to see the hill country, wanting to see what we were up to. And we just had to tell our story through all of it.
KHOU 11 News starts now.
Harvey slams into Texas as a monstrous Category 4 hurricane.
Governor Greg Abbott is declaring a state of disaster.
And once it heads toward land, it's going to wring itself out like a wet sponge.
The biggest hurricane in 40 years.
The rainfall estimates are staggering. We're still looking at catastrophic flooding.
It sits, it spins, it rains.
Flash flood watch for much of the area is being extended now.
You remember all those models we've been showing you the last few days? Those models were exactly right, and that's not good news for us. By the time this is all said and done, we're writing these
The hurricane, although it didn't affect us like the rest of the Gulf area, we had some damage and some delays.
It's frustrating, but then what puts it all into perspective is a delay. Some of it is because of the rains and storms that hit Houston. You look at the devastation that happened there in that community, and all of a sudden you're pretty grateful.
When we see a lot of rain coming, we take all the precautions prior to that. We'll initiate the delay. For the entire year 2017, weather-related, We probably had 2 months of downtime.
The physical amenities, the sales center, the welcome center, they're still under construction. So those are big, very visual challenges that we've had to deal with. I don't know if people believed us when we said how many homes we were going to build and how quickly we were going to build them. It's always a challenge when you're working against Mother Nature. It's always a challenge when there's different visions in different directions and you have to bring those together to create the one reality. So there's always going to be challenges. They're there. We're going to have them. We deal with them, we put them behind us, we learn from them, and by doing that, you can overcome so many other things.
We knew Houston wanted what we had because before we even marketed there, they were looking for us. They were searching for hill country retirement, hill country escapes, getaways. So when we made the commitment to go into Houston, we actually looked at July of this year. Well, come July, we didn't have all of the ducks in a row. So we said, okay, the latest that we'll push it to is September. And then in August, the storm hit Houston, devastating that community. And we said, what we will do is go be a resource. We'll go clean up there on the weekends. We'll support that community in the right way when they need it. And then we'll let them know that we're here. So we pushed the start date back by another 30 days. So this October, we'll be telling the Kissing Tree story to the Houston audience. So we're excited to sort of post Houston as an escape.
We knew we wanted to come to Texas, so we built a beautiful home in Galveston. Larry designed it. We had an architect bring it to life. It was everything we ever wanted in a home, but it was a little bit lonely there. So here we were, finally retired, finally ready to have fun, be able to entertain, socialize, and no one was home.
I think we could tell instantly when we went there why we would want to live in Kissing Tree. It really wasn't about the house. What it really was about was all of the promises. There are going to be pickleball courts, and there are going to be bocce ball, and then, of course, the golf course. All the things that we wanted in our previous community that the developer hadn't provided for us. And this one, you could look around and see they are really spending some money here. Kathy always laughs at me, but I look at the equipment and I'll say, have you ever seen a bulldozer with a blade on the front of it as big as that? And, you know, it's just amazing, all of the equipment. And I'm thinking, good grief, this is serious development.
So we knew right away it was going to be a quality company that was building there. But more than that, the first time we were in the sales office, there were other people there who had already bought. And we shared a beer and a glass of wine with them, and everybody started just visiting with each other. And we looked around and we said, these people are just like us. This is where we want to be. We were hooked. Went back home, sold our house instantly, and then we went, oh my gosh, now we're homeless. Now we really have to find a place fast. Moved into an apartment, and 2 weeks later signed a contract on a lot. And we've never looked back.
Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural Kissing Tree Block Party and Barbecue.
We're out here celebrating our first residents.
We were the first ones here, so they want to call it the Kinsey Frenzy for some reason. It's lovely. We've enjoyed it.
We've got some games that they can play and just a lot of socializing. Plus, what they really get to see is they get to see the quick move-in homes.
It's amazing that the work that has progressed here. We get to reunite with our friends and soon-to-be neighbors.
I'm buying into the whole social scene of it. It's going to be a good place to live, right here, overlooking the 18th fairway. That's my lot right there. This will be the garage, and it's a natural view to the 18th hole. And if you're in the neighborhood, come on by.
This is what makes Kissing Tree special. This is what makes it a great place.
It's gone from being Yeah, we're checking out Kissing Tree to, these people they're committed, they have their little red dot on the map, and now they're like, okay, who's here that I can meet?
The best part about the community coming together is everything is now owned by those first few families that are building their homes there or have moved in.
We're still waiting for that perfect one.
We have really kind of ramped up our events. A lot of them are from ideas that are coming to me from some of the residents, and so I will say, hey, let's give it a shot. That's a success because it's what they wanted. I have a full calendar of activities, planned. Of course, a lot of it has to do with the new amenities coming on and what I can add to the calendar.
Our next event is going to be the end of September. We're going to have our first pickleball tournament here.
By living in a community like this, you have somebody that can get that going, initiate those activities for you. And I think the residents like that. They may not have all the resources. I can go find them for them.
Last name Anderson.
Wow! This is amazing. Welcome to Kissing Tree, everyone.
All of us are probably 2 to 5 months from all of us being here.
Yeah.
So we've been meeting each other as we go along, which makes it a lot of fun.
And we didn't know if we were going to build now or a lot later until we started coming to the social events. And so this is what we're coming here for.
Welcome to Kissing Tree and our inaugural pickleball tournament. We can't wait to show it off. Kevin, our lifestyle director, is going to take you around.
Hey, welcome. Yes, this is our pickleball clinic. All the winners that came out of their pool will be over here in the Stringtown bracket. The runner-up of the pools will be in the Sam Houston bracket. In the Purgatory Creek bracket, that's the third place, okay? Let's see some good sportsmanship and just have a great time, okay? All right. Go get them.
I feel like after a year and a half of getting these groups of people together, it's about getting to see their friends or maybe people they consider to be family. And now we all get to go out and have a little fun on the pickleball courts.
I say the word amazing a lot, but I think we really did have an amazing tournament today. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves, a lot of laughter, a lot of smiles on their faces, a lot of positive attitudes, and that's what it was all about.
We came to the end of the year and we wanted to make sure that all 16,000 of the people that have been interested in Kissing Tree knew what we had accomplished in 2017. It was time to deliver on what we told our future residents, that we would have a place to physically interact and meet with people, whether or not it was a pickleball court or another parking lot that we threw up a tent. We wanted to make sure we delivered something. So we told them that we were really excited to welcome them into a new welcome center and a social building early in 2018.
For those of us who already are connected, we kind of need a place to meet and socialize. It'll be great when the social center is open.
We're pretty aggressive on our initial open date. We're all eager to hit those dates. We all want them as quick as possible, but a lot of those things changed, and it seems even from a year ago, June, when we were out here under the tent opening up Grand Central, they may not see what we originally planned on them to see, but they get to see something in progress, and I think they're still just as excited to be able to see it in conception and working toward a completion. They enjoy what we're doing. They enjoy being a part of that construction phase of it and being able to see it right before it's finished. But it is very challenging.
Eventually, the course will be open, so we'll be playing golf. We'll be playing pickleball. In other words, we'll have a very active lifestyle from that point of view.
Wow. We came up right after Hurricane Harvey just to get out, because we're from Sugar Land, the Houston area, just to get out of the flooding and to get some dry air.
Not only do we go to the scheduled activities that the social director plans, we just meet up at the pickleball court, even if it's not the scheduled time for activities. And we are really getting to know each other better.
Yeah, we were here for the last pickleball.
We came for the pickleball opening, and we had no intention other than to just play around.
Yeah.
We bought a house.
I know. See, that's
bought a
that is the danger of Kissing Tree. You
I
come
know.
here and you fall in love.
It's the poison. It's a really sweet poison.
It's the people too. Everybody we meet
people.
up here is
I
so
know. It's
friendly. It's just.
It's the truth. It's the people here that make you fall in love with the community, and then you look around and it's gorgeous. I know that once we're in the house, it will be so easy to get together there. But in the meantime, the activities are they're the glue that keeps the community together right now, and we're all enjoying that tremendously.
Independence Hall will definitely be a hub for those people who enjoy that leisure social activity. As we move forward, the golf clubhouse and restaurant will be a social hub. So the mix will be the hub. Independence Hall will be a piece of a much larger community.
Interior and exterior, a lot of activity going on right now up here. The guys further up there are currently working on the outdoor stage area that is placed up there in the front of the building. So quite a bit happening right now. Behind us we have the sales building. That'll be delivering early February. We've got some exterior framing going on. They're getting ready to frame around the steel beams that will allow the glass guys to come in and put the metal framing around for all the glass enclosures similar to what we have on the social building. Those are all solid wood beams that'll be exposed, stained at the very end, so same exterior scheme all the way through all the structures out here in the amenities. To be able to open the second phase of amenities, golf club, restaurant, that's a huge goal that's sitting out there. And not to mention the 130 closings that we have on task for 2018, and I think we have a good jump on that.
2018 is going to be so exciting because so many new things are opening up. We'll finally have that amenity center for people to congregate. We'll finally have people here that want to do block parties and want to get involved with their neighbors.
We're moving in really soon, like 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully, so it's exciting. We have been out there almost every single day because we only live 2 miles from Kissing Tree. Going out there every single day, they have done something on our house every single day except one. Now, some days it might be very minor. They might put a light fixture up. Other days they may put the carpet down or a wood floor down, etc. But every single day, something's been put in.
Scott and Gwen Burton know more about the construction process and what's happening at Kissing Tree than some of the employees. And I think a big part of that is they're San Marcos residents. They know the impact that this community has.
I'm very excited to be able to walk to things that my grandchildren are going to want to participate in. I'm excited to have a fitness center. That means that eventually we get to move the exercise bike out of our house.
I didn't know that till just now. I'm excited about the amenity center. We want to do more with life. We want to be able to go to the pool. We want to be able to go play pickleball. We want to play tennis. We want to go out and learn how to play golf. We want to join the book club. We want to go on a hike and bike trail. All of these things are fun things that we can do with people our own age where we're all about the same point in what we're doing.
The basic idea that we're not buying a house, that we're getting into a community, what an enormous investment somebody has to make to do that. We as individuals can't do it. What we're doing is we're coming here and saying, please make all this investment for us and okay, build us a house too.
The opening of the social building is really going to be my favorite part of 2018 because that is the hub that the community will really live out of, and the first thing that they own together as a community. So you got these individual houses everywhere, but that 20-acre amenity campus, the mix, the entire hub of it is right there in that social building. So to open it up and let them live out of there and really own it, we're really excited about what's to come with the social building.
We've been coming here
from the time that there were no houses at all and almost no roads, only a sales office and a bunch of posters of what the future could be like here. And we've been coming for,
Almost
I
2
don't
years
know,
now, straight.
2 years, yeah. Right now, most of our street is populated with permanent residents. We know almost everybody on the street, and we don't live there yet. We come from a neighborhood where we've been there 6.5 years, and we don't know any of our neighbors. So for us, it's really,
That's exactly what
it's
we
going
had.
back to home. We're from Boston. We were close with our neighbors for 30-something years, and then we've been isolated from a neighborhood community feel, and now we're getting back into it here, which is really going to be a godsend for us, I think.
We've got 110 of the Brookfield executive team here visiting Kissing Tree. A lot of times you go to these retreats and there's a lot of conversation between each other, but when you slow down and have the opportunity to hear from residents who are in the midst of it, it's really priceless.
I want to thank Brookfield for keeping my story and this tradition alive.
So last year, we had the very first homeowner panel discussion when we were in Calgary at our retreat, and we got wonderful feedback from that retreat. So the Planning Council decided that we would do it again this year. I would like to thank all of our panelists who are here today for taking time out of your schedules to join us, to give us insight on your experience here at Kissing Tree. So welcome. Let's give them all a hearty Brookfield welcome. What about this time in your life made this a good time to move to a brand new active adult community?
Right away, they started introducing us to other people, and we were meeting other people and the other salespeople. And we got this, again, concept of community. And I think the concept behind what they've put together here is really what made us move forward and go into the Pioneer program.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Very good. The only way for us to get better is to really hear from you some of those things in the experience, whether it be sales and design, construction, that we could do better.
I was 15 years in the hotel business, pretty sales-centric kind of business. We always had a saying, sales sells the dream, operations services the nightmare. Okay? I think this thing is going to be great. But I'm here to tell you, responsiveness is what it's all about, keeping the customer informed. Your best marketing is big mouth guys like me. We're all over 55. We're all professionals here, the people you're selling to. People have asked me about Kissing Tree, and I said, give it a year. Wait, they're not quite there yet. But I think you could get your shit together and do it. Okay? Big company, big vision, lots of moving parts. Hard to get them to all mesh. But if you guys can get them to mesh, you'll build these 3,200 homes in quicker than 10 years. But if it goes this way, if you get 320 done, I'll be surprised. That's what I got to say.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty.
I'm not expressing my frustrations like this because I want to hurt Brookfield or hurt the people that work here. The people that work here are awesome. I want this to be good for everybody. I want it to be good organically for all the folks that are here now and are going to come here. Because if it's good for everybody, then we're going to be in the place we wanted to be. You know? Shit, life is short as hell.
By the time we move in May, right, Sean, May, it'll have been 14 months since we signed our contract. But we're all in it together, and we remind ourselves literally every day that house we had in Houston that was perfect was just a house. And we aren't buying a house this time. We are buying a community. I always say Kevin is the glue that is holding the community together. Because when we all are unhappy about...
There's Kevin.
When we're all unhappy for one reason or another, Kevin is our cheerleader, and he makes us smile, and he makes us get active, and he brings us all together. And if I could just add one more small thing, because it kind of happened to us today. There is a woman in our community who moved in with her husband and became a widow just about a month ago. And the very next week, she was at yoga with us. because she'd been caring for her husband previously. She really hadn't been able to be out. And she said, I just feel so comfortable being here. And just before we came today, Larry and I stopped and visited with her as she was out walking around. And I hate to be sober about it, but we've said one or the other of us is going to live here alone one day. And it is such a great community, and we've already made so many wonderful friends. We know that that will be okay. So for whatever role you've had in it, we thank you for that.
This is probably my 5th time out here, and from the, couldn't get into the community, dirt roads, trailer, to today is an amazing amount of work and a phenomenal amount of effort. I'm so excited for this year. I think it's going to be a phenomenal year at Kissing Tree this year.
Here we are.
Here we are. The house is going to be exactly what we asked for it to be. We knew coming in, this was our 12th house. This will be our last house. We knew what we wanted, and I think it's going to be exactly what we want when it's finished. So I'm not worried about it. I'm sleeping very well at night these days.
Now we have 3 weeks left, and we will be here at least once every day.
So you can see we still have a little bit to do. We've been in 2 months right now. A few more boxes to unbox, but we're getting there. We arrived the first night. We were maybe the first 10 or 15 people out here. Some of the neighbors brought us dinner. Some of them brought us breakfast the next morning. And it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. It's a sense of community already. I think Kissing Tree is fulfilling the promise that they made to us. And it's almost like living in a resort. We're having so much fun with it. We love it. Love it.
In the next 5 years of this community and this golf course, I mean, it's really going to be exciting to see how quickly it's going to grow. As these amenities open, those are going to be what gets the momentum going. And we'll see housing, and it's just going to get busier and busier and busier. And, 4 or 5 years from now, we'll probably finally take a breath and be like, man, it's going to happen that quick.
And just with the social activities, same thing. I mean, as they start to see the amenities pop up, there were ones that bought into it and we didn't have any of this. Now with all those added amenities, I just see it continuing to explode.
It's a huge leap of faith. But when you look at Brookfield as a company, you look at what they've done, how they operate, if you analyze it, you think if anybody can do it, these guys can do it.
Just want to take a couple minutes to really thank you guys for being a part of Kissing Tree.
Wow. I mean, you look back 12 months ago and literally the place was dirt. The dream that was on paper and in our heads is now starting to look like a community. It's starting to feel like a community.
So many of you were a part of our early Pioneer program. It started 2 years ago under a tent down there in the parking lot. And you were part of the seed of Kissing Tree.
I think a couple of years ago I said something to the effect of, in 3 years we'll be sitting up at the social building having a drink and enjoying the beautiful evening, and well, I'm glad to say we're here. So welcome to Kissing Tree.
For the first time, we have residents really running an event, showing off their place.
So, yeah, the dream is starting to become reality, and reality is exciting.
Look who's here!
This takes a process, right? You guys go on a journey with us at Kissing Tree. But I am humbled, truly, like emotionally humbled by the people that live here. Because they're so special.
We are blessed with the best neighbors on our street. I said to Larry, I feel so good here because if I ever needed anything, I know I could ask them. And the same, with us. We're going to be there for each other. And it was so easy. I don't know, somehow it was fate.